It's the second to last episode here in Auburndale, and that means it's time for the finishing touches, like our custom-made island countertop.
In the master bedroom, we'll show you a closet system you can design online, pick up the parts, and install it all in one day.
And we'll put the finishing touches on the landscaping with these trees and some new sod. We have just 2 episodes left here in Auburndale, and that means that the finishing touches are underway, inside and out. The transformation of the front yard is nearly complete with the bushes and most of the trees in the ground. And later today, we are going to put down a carpet of sod all across this front yard. Now, Roger and his guys already got started with the sod. They cut some pieces and they put it in between the big field stones. And the thought was they could soften the edges of this walkway. Walkway brings you to the front of the house and underneath a massive pergola that went in last week. It's made of PVC, but it's meant to look like wood. And I'll tell you, even under close inspection, you can barely tell the difference. Painting is going on inside, and the homeowners, well, they love their color. A bright red door and an orange foyer. And believe it or not, this is just the first coat. When the second coat goes up, it's going to be even brighter. And the orange butts up right to a red wall. Tell me, man, these homeowners love their color.
They sure do. And this is called love at first bite.
Seriously.
I am serious. I hope you like it in here because there's going to be a lot of it in here. Morrow and his guys have got all the trim painted. They're now working on the walls to get all those prepped. And all of these walls from that corner back there, all around here, over here, all the way around here, and to here is going to be love at first bite.
Boy, that is a lot of red. That's a lot of love.
It sure is.
All right, well, we also got work going on in the kitchen. And, you know, Ravine asked for the biggest island you could give him, and I think you did it.
Well, he got a big one, 4.5 feet by 8 feet.
All right, so the island is set, and that means it's time for the countertop, which comes to us from Paul Grothouse. Paul, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Kevin. You want to give us a hand?
I'd love to. You ready to get this in? All right.
It's heavy.
Look at this. It takes 6 guys to get this thing in.
Got that run?
Sink and plenty of room to sit. So, Paul, what is the species?
This is sapele mahogany.
Sapele?
Yep.
All right, and we're looking at obviously not one big piece. I can see that there's multiple pieces put together.
Yeah, this is wide plank construction. Essentially, it's wide boards glued edge to edge to give a furniture top appearance.
But solid all the way through. I mean, I'm looking at nearly 2 inches of solid mahogany.
Yeah, this is a solid top.
Beautiful. All right. And so, what about the finishing?
Well, this is a multi-step finish. I got a couple examples here.
What's this?
This is actually the raw wood, no finish. So this is what it comes like naturally. And then next, we'll put a seal coat on, and you can see that adds really no color. It just is basically a sealer, and it starts the finishing process.
It does start to bring out some of the character and grain of the wood, however.
Right, and then next we apply a glaze, and that glaze brings out the 3D pop of the top.
So there's a little bit of color in this glaze.
Absolutely, it's a black glaze.
Right, and then what about durability? I mean, how tough is this countertop?
This is an acrylic urethane. It's as tough as car paint. It
Really?
will provide years and years of service. It's highly chemical resistant. You don't have to worry about spilling cleaners on it. It's not meant for chopping applications, though.
So tough, but I don't want to put the chef knife right on it.
No, it's meant for an aesthetic surface.
All right, well, it is aesthetic, and it looks gorgeous, so I'm glad to know it's going to stay like this. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
There are some bold paint colors downstairs, but up here on the second floor, they're a lot more subdued. And our interior designer, Melissa Gulley, had a hand in all of them. In fact, she's had a hand in almost every aesthetic decision, right down to how to organize the closets. And the other day, she showed me how to pull that off. Melissa, we've done a lot of closets over the years. Tommy has custom-built closets for us. We have gone to stores that specialize in building closets.
Done a lot.
We have ordered them online and had them shipped, and here at the Home Center, we can do a little bit of both.
You can. It's great. We have this online tool. You start by picking the type of closet you have. We have a reach-in closet versus a walk-in closet. So let's start there.
So this is basically a site that the Home Center works with.
Yep. You put in the dimensions of your closet, 64.5 inches wide.
Right.
And then you come to a suggested plan.
So based on reach-in and 64.5 inches, this is going to suggest a layout for our closet.
It is, and it's great, actually. We didn't deviate much from it, although you can. options are seemingly endless.
So we're essentially customizing the closet from the comfort of our own home on the computer.
Exactly, exactly.
So let's see what it gave us.
Okay, so we have this great closet here.
Yeah.
It's great. You have the ability to really maximize all the space. When you can see everything in your closet, you'll use everything in your closet. You'll wear it. You won't forget about it. So here you have hanging, stacking over each other, so you get more space. You use not only the width, but you use the height of the closet for organization.
All right, so here it's showing it in a dark wood, but I know we're using white.
We are. So you come over here, and you can change the color.
Oh, nice.
Look how great that looks.
All right, and I see drawers and shelves, but there are other options?
Yes, there are. You can click on the center column here. You can go to shoes.
It's going to make somebody happy, all shoes.
No kidding,
All right.
exactly.
So you designed something for Ravine, for Allison. You
Yep.
see it on the computer, but it also prints it out for you.
It prints it out. You get this great picture with the specifications and your shopping list.
So if you have to have your closet that weekend, you don't need to have it shipped. You can come down to the home center and get it.
You just go shopping. Yeah.
Here it is on the shelves, and you can actually get a sense of what it's going to look like.
Yep. It's full extension drawers.
Ours will be in white, but I get the idea. Some baskets.
Exactly.
And most of it just flat pack, so we can stick it in the car and get it to the site.
And then you have accessories. Look at this. You have, for all the ties you wear, Kevin, you have tie hanging scarves, belts. You can hang the outfit that you picked out for tomorrow on your handy dandy pull-out hook.
Right.
You have your laundry in the bottom, your shoe storage, everything you need. It's full organization.
We've got a plan, we've got the supplies, and it turns out
We have the man.
to install it for us.
Now the system starts by screwing these cleats to the wall.
Found the studs behind the drywall, and you're going right into them.
Yep. Okay, good. That's not going to go anywhere. Now from this cleat, we're going to hang our sides. First thing we want to do is build this center section right here.
Now, most of the pieces are already cut to size, and this center section has a notch to receive the cleat, and it's also pre-drilled so that it can actually receive these shelf pins. Or,
Well, in this case, we're actually going to screw through those holes to mount a permanent shelf. Now the screw will go through the pre-drilled hole in the side and also go into the hole in the edge of the shelf. Now we're going to screw the sides to the top. All right, now with the sides attached to the top and bottom, we can tip the unit on its side and start attaching our drawers.
all right, let me slide this in.
Slide it right in. Now I'm just going to line the drawer runner up with the hole already in the side of the side. And I'm going to put one of these screws right here that are specially designed for these holes and screw it into place. There's one. Okay, now pull the drawer out. Okay, now let's open up the drawer. Get our hand in there. You ready? Yep. Now that it's on the cleat, now slide it to me just a little. That's it, right there.
Okay.
All right, here's one of the poles that we're going to install, and these are adjustable in width. They go into the holes that the shelf pins will go into, and there's a screw up above to hold them into position. Put it right up top, as high as you can get it. Yep.
And the second screw. All right, another
All
pole.
right, another pole right here.
All right, and then the second screw for the second pole. Okay, a couple shelves, Tommy, and we are good to go.
Sure are. All right, here's the last pin for the shelf in this section.
All right, and shelf going in. That is all there is to it. So one closet for Alice and one closet for Ravine. Not bad.
And that should make for a happy marriage.
Is that the key?
I think it is.
Our house will be protected by a security system. So when all the walls were open, we ran wires from the basement to 3 keypads throughout the house. But those are the only wires we have to run because the rest of the system is wireless. And Jack, I can see that we got a keypad right here up and running. The system working all right?
Working fine. We've got a keypad here, we've got a keypad in the master bedroom, and we've got a keypad downstairs by the slider out to the back under the deck.
Terrific. And then what about the rest of the system? What are we protecting?
What we're protecting over here is just the casement window. We have a casement window contact. It's a wireless contact. If somebody were to pry the window open, the alarm would trip and we'd send the police.
And so you say that's wireless. It's not
That is
hardwired
wireless.
to anything.
Not hardwired. If it were hardwired, the problem with the hardwired on this unit is we'd have to drill through the casement and void the warranty of the unit.
All right.
So that won't work very well.
Good.
So we've got one of these wireless contacts on every opening around the first floor area.
Now that would help us if the window gets pried open, but what if someone comes through the glass by breaking it?
In the past, we would have vibration sensors mounted directly to the glass, which were a problem area, a major cause of false alarms in a residential application. In today's world, we use a sensor which actually picks up the sound, the ultrasonic sound of the glass breaking. This sensor can be mounted in a 25-foot radius. Anywhere in this particular hallway would pick up any piece of glass that breaks in this hallway.
Oh, that's great. All right.
And it is also wireless.
Yeah. And what about motion detectors? Did you bring any of those?
We did. We have motion sensors in different areas throughout the house. This is a combination passive infrared motion sensor. It also picks up a change in heat.
All right.
So just general passage throughout the house.
So what happens when an alarm is sounded and it's not a false alarm?
If an alarm is sounded, the central station gets the signal, dispatches the police, and then calls the homeowner or the designee.
So this is a fully monitored system, not just a big alarm sounding off.
24/7, 365.
All right. Looks like you got us covered. Thank you, Jack.
Great, thank you.
So Kevin, we're in pretty good shape. We got plumbing finishes going on inside, we got the heating system up and running, and we have our outside condensers connected.
Condensers. Two of them means two zones, right?
That's right. The smaller one is going to serve our bedrooms on the top floor, an air handler up in the attic, and this larger one is going to work with our basement and first floor.
And you guys have put in efficient models, obviously?
You bet. This is about as efficient as you can get for the SEER rating. This is about 17 SEER. That's high. What I like the most about this is it's a two-stage air conditioner.
Meaning?
When it's not that hot out, you don't need full cooling power. So this can fire just to a lower amount, and that's more efficient, and it saves a lot of energy.
All right.
So our two-stage condenser is right outside that window right here. The line sets run inside the ceiling right here, and it connects to an air handler inside here, which also has two stages, and that's really important. When it's not really that hottest day of the year, you can have a little bit of cooling power here matched to the condenser outside.
So you got everything into this little closet right here.
I do. It is a tiny little space, but everything's there. There is one burner that's doing everything to heat this building and to do a lot of different functions. We have a condensing boiler right here, and that boiler has its water leave over here, and it goes out to a bunch of loads. The first load is to make domestic hot water. So you can see pipes come down here to this tank right here. This is called an indirect tank. It's got a coil inside it.
Not a very big tank, Richard.
It isn't, and I'll explain that in just a minute. And then the next load we come out to is the air handlers. There's one that goes up into the attic for that second floor bedrooms, and the other one right here comes to this air handler right here. So not only are we cooling with this air handler, but also there's a hot water heating coil right here, so we're heating.
So hot water to make hot air.
That's right, no burner inside this, only get back here. And the final load we have is right here, and that is radiant floor warming.
Right, because we've got radiant in the basement slab, and we also have it underneath the kitchen and the sun porch.
That's right, it comes right over to this point, and there's manifolds right here, and this goes out with warm water to just chase the chill off of those areas, and that'll be great in the sunroom and the kitchen.
So all that being done by this little box, I mean, what's behind the curtain there?
Well, this is a condensing boiler. Here's the controls right here, very intuitive, easy to use right here. But underneath the cover, which is the heart of a condensing boiler, is this.
Jeez, it's even smaller underneath there.
Here's our heat exchanger. And what you're trying to do with a condensing boiler is to extract the heat that would normally be lost in the water vapor that would have gone up the chimney with a conventional boiler. I've got a cutaway to show you right here.
So the coil is what's actually taking the heat from the flame and putting it into the water.
That's right. Here's where the water leaves to go out to all those different functions we're doing. There's a burner that sits right here. Now the heat from that burner drives through these stainless steel coils right here, and it drives that flue gas down through these coils and extracts every bit of the heat that was in that water vapor. And by the time it gets down here, where it exhausts to outside, it's nothing but a little bit of temperature and a little bit of water.
So if this is the coil for the boiler, what's this coil here?
Well, that's actually inside our indirect tank. And so there would be water right here ready to go for the faucets. Boiler water goes through this coil right here. And when you need to, that boiler fires up and heats up the water.
So this coil actually sits inside of this tank right here, and it's small. I mean, is that because this coil is so efficient that tank can be so small?
It's a good question. It's a combination of the efficiency of this boiler firing into the efficiency or the size of that coil right here. But it also is because the homeowners didn't pick some big Whirlpool tub. If they had, I would have had to put a big tank to satisfy that load. In this case, it was as efficient as you can get.
Good judgment on their part, good engineering on your part.
We're doing okay.
All right, nice job. The wood countertop on the island goes a long way to completing this room, but it's one of just several surfaces that we are using. The appliances are stainless steel. Look at the size of this hood, over a 6-burner range with a griddle. And on the rest of the countertops, we've got yet another material. Danny, what are we using here?
What we're using is black Zimbabwe granite.
Does it really come from Zimbabwe?
It does.
Appropriately named then, all right.
As you can see, the homeowner chose a surface that's a little different than your traditional polished granite. It has a textured finish, sort of leathery.
Yeah, you can actually feel the texture there. It doesn't have that high gloss. How did we achieve that?
We achieve it by using brushes as opposed to the traditional diamonds.
So no diamond pads to give you the shine here, something
No,
else.
just a series of brushes.
All right, unique and actually very nice. And on the windowsill here, Tommy made this extra deep. He boxed out the window so Allison would have a surface to set things down. Yep. You've given us a marble.
Yep, Carrara marble from Carrara, Italy. And as you can see, the nice veining going through it will accent this nice dark countertop.
Oh, that is a nice piece of stone. All right, Daniel, thank you very much. We really
You're welcome.
appreciate it. Now, some of the other surfaces we have are the tiles. This is ceramic, and it's got a crackled glaze. And then we have the accent piece. This is recycled glass. And there's actually 50 linear feet of it all throughout this kitchen, being put in by Rob Rapps here. Rob, it's a beautiful look. Question to you, though, is how is it to work with?
Well, it's really difficult to work with because of how thin it is. And if you get it wet, then it all falls apart.
And you've actually got to break this down into small pieces for the accent.
Exactly.
So has this been kind of a nightmare to install?
So what I do is I cut strips of the tile backer
Oh.
and I glue it to this.
So that's the cementatious backer right there, and you've made your own little piece.
Yeah, so it makes it easy to install, just like that.
Oh, that's clever.
Now I've laid down a lot of pieces on this to install in the niche.
So same idea, a lot of pieces of fix, and now you can just cut this as one.
Yes.
You ready to do that now?
Right now.
Boy, you can see how much easier it is to cut with all those tiny pieces of glass tile affixed to the backer board.
Another good thing about putting the tiles on the backer board first is I can apply the thin set to this board instead of the wall.
Ah, right, because if you were working with just the tiles on the mat, you'd actually have to put the thin set up here, and then you'd be working with the tiles up on the wall.
And the thin set will come through all of those joints.
Oh, wow, so you got it all figured out. Well, let's see how we did with fit.
Okay.
All right. All of that glass going up in one little motion. That's great. Oh, Rob, I think you're going to make it. Wow, that's terrific. So now you've got the sides and the top to do, right? Same process, though.
That's next.
All right, well, we're going to see this kitchen when it is complete, so we'll be back to look at this. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, see you later, Kevin.
Oh, Tommy, you know we're getting down to the short strokes when you were installing hardware like this.
Yeah, we got the hardware on the interior doors all on. It's a oiled rub bronze, and also on the exterior hardware.
So let me have a look at this. Exterior, we've got a handle and a deadbolt. I like it.
Right. Well, this lock's got a unique feature that we can actually change this key anytime we want.
So why would you want to do that? Let's say, Mom and Dad each have a key to the house. Dad loses one.
Right.
And now for peace of mind, you're worried about burglars coming in.
Right.
So you call a locksmith. And what does he do?
Well, a locksmith would come out and he'd change the deadbolts on all of the locks.
Yep.
Or, right inside here, there's this little cylinder. That little cylinder, where the key goes, have these little tumblers right there.
Literally tumblers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
All right, and those tumblers are going to conform to the key when I slide it in there. See them going up and down?
Yeah.
All right, now what they're doing is they're matching the profile of the key with the teeth.
So when the tumblers are in that position and that position only is when this is going to turn.
Right, in that position only. So in other words, I can't take another key and put it in there, the lock won't turn.
That's good. So the locksmith either changes this or he changes the tumbler. That's going to cost us a few $100, or if he's got to do it on every door, it's $500.
A lot of money. All right, so I can take and change the tumblers on this lock without removing this lock.
Oh, how do you do that?
But I need an original key. So let me have one of the original keys.
So this is Mom's key that didn't get lost.
Right, so I put it in the lock, and now my lock locks and unlocks. I take the key and I turn it a quarter of a turn. The manufacturer gives me this little device right here that goes in this little hole.
Yeah.
I push it in, and now I pull the key out, and I pull this out.
And what is that doing?
That just relaxed all my tumblers. So now I can take any key that will fit into this slot.
Fit, but didn't work previously.
Right, didn't work. Now I turn it, and now this lock is keyed to this key.
It's like a magic trick. And what happened to Mom's old key?
Well, let me show you. If I take Mom's old key and I put it in here and I turn it, I can't unlock that door.
Tommy, you are a magician, and you just saved us about $500.
Absolutely.
All right.
Pretty clever, huh?
Yeah. Jen, I love to see that the trees are going into the ground, but you do know that this is not our property, right?
Well, as you remember, in Allison and Ravine's yard, we took down that Norway maple. So that's technically a city tree. So once you take down a city tree, you have to replace the diameter of that tree.
All right.
That tree was about 10 inches. So we're going to put this is a 2-inch caliper tree right here. And we're going to replace with 5 2-inch caliper trees.
So one of them's going in right here. What is this tree?
This is a sugar maple.
Right, and where are the other 4 going?
This is the first one, the second one's going down here in the island, and the other 3 are going to be dispersed around the neighborhood.
All right, no cost to the neighbors?
No cost to the neighbors.
That's a nice civic gesture, all right. But selfishly, I want to know what's going on with our yard. Obviously, the sod is going down today.
The sod is going down, everything's been prepped. We're following the bed lines that we previously dug.
Sort of a natural curve out here around the side and nice and straight up against the fieldstone walkway there. I like it.
And it travels all the way to our new pergola.
Yeah, what do you think of the pergola?
The pergola is massive, but we're going to be accenting it with these plantings.
And so what are these here?
These are boxwoods, and they'll get to be about 2 feet high.
Nice.
We're planting them only on the outer edge, just so we could capture views from the window, so it kind of frames our views as we look out.
All right, so that's the outer edge of the viewed frame right there. What about the inner edge here?
The inner edge, this is all going to be perennials for Allison to play with in here, so blank palette for her. These plantings, the Japanese holly, this will get about 7 feet tall, but anything is prunable and we could shape it, they could shape it how they'd like.
Right, and this was one of 2 actually that you wanted because, yeah, there's the other one. You wanted these to be symmetrical on either side of the door.
Right, and here's the other Japanese holly, and it helps frame the entryway.
All right, so those will get a little taller. Now, we've got most of the stuff in except for the sod down on this side. So this is soil that was brought in?
This is a 50-50 compost loam blend, and starter fertilizer has been incorporated into this. We're raking it to a nice level grade, and the sod's going to be rolled out right on top.
So it's getting pretty late in the year. I mean, this sod's going to make it till spring, right?
It's going to be perfect foundation for it.
All right, well, it's a great design, a lot of hard work by Roger and his guys, so thank you for that. And just in time, because we are down to our last episode here, which is coming up next week. So until then, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
And I'm Jenn Nawada.
For This Old House.